Bill Reynolds.
Hi, Jack. Cathcart made me sound pretty good.
Yeah. Now tell me something, Pete. What can you and the boys do with the Chesterfield Men of America theme?
Give us the pictures, we'll give you the music.
From the farmers on the rolling plain, driving thresher through the golden grain, to construction workers going day and night, caning the fury of a river's might. They're all men of America, making the swing to the top tobacco in Chesterfield King. Chesterfield! Sun-drenched top tobacco's gonna mean that you're smoking smoother and you're smoking clean. Only top tobacco, full king size, gives the big clean taste that always satisfies. Chesterfield! Chesterfield!
We thought a living room setting would be most appropriate for a show about Manie because, well, there's the television set and there's the record player and the radio, and Manie was responsible for so much of the entertainment that came pouring out of them. There are other reasons, too. It seems that a living room is where I always think of Manie. I mean, sitting there helping me pick out a song or a dress or a name for the baby or telling me about a fellow named Eddie Fisher.
Dinah, I think of Manie on a lonely street corner in Philadelphia, because that's where I think I'd still be if he and his brother Lester hadn't found me. What I owe Manie, I can never put into 90 minutes. I used to hang around his office, outside his office, for many, many hours every day for a long time. I think you were in at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, one day came my big break. Eddie, he cried, I found a song, and only you can record it. Not Como, not Sinatra, not Lanza, only you.
Hey.
Yes. I've been to Como, Sinatra, and Lanza, and you're the only one left.
Must have been a darling song.
Oh, it actually was a very beautiful song, Dinah. But that wasn't the point. You know what kind of guy we're talking about? All a song plugger had to do was look hungry, and Manie would get his song recorded.
So you recorded it.
Yes. And that was sort of a start. Didn't quite sell 1 million records. It fell short by about 950,000. But it was the beginning. With these hands, I will cling to you. I'm yours forever and a day. With these hands, I will bring to you a tender love as warm as May. With this heart, I will sing to you. Long after stars have lost their glow, and with these hands, I'll provide for you. Should there be a stormy sea, I'll turn the tide for you, and I'll never, no, I'll never let you go. With these hands, I'll provide for you. Should there be a stormy sea, I'll turn the tide for you, and I'll never let you go.
It's wonderful, Eddie, and I've been sorry ever since that I turned it down.
names and dates and places, they kind of recede further and further into the background. The really important thing that remains is the measure of the man. And I'd like to tell you a little story about this very happy character that he was. He had a terrific business sense, made deals involving millions of dollars, and yet he was the fellow that could never hurt anybody. And a very great friend of his, a girl named Janet Kern, who is also a very fine, noted television critic of the Chicago American, she tells a story about Manie that really illustrates the point. Manie was the kind of a guy that they were always trying to marry off, you know? And this particular evening, somebody's aunt or cousin had introduced him to a girl, and they were going out to dinner. Now, I imagine that the girl was a very lovely person, but Manie just wasn't in the mood to get married. Anyway, after dinner, Manie wanted to call it sort of an early evening, but he didn't want to hurt the girl's feelings. So instead of saying, well, I'm tired and I think I better get on to bed, he merely said, excuse me, I have to leave now because I'm taking the midnight plane to Chicago. But of course, first, I'll take you home, see? The girl says, oh, no, you've been so sweet and so wonderful. I insisted that you let me help you pack. That's Manie. And Manie said, well, I've already packed. And she says, well, good. Then I'll pick up the bags and I'll drive you to the airport. So poor Manie had to go back to the hotel, and while the girl was waiting in the taxi cab, Manie threw a few things in the bag, like magazines, telephone books, anything he could find. He just dropped everything in, and off they go to the airport. To get there, Manie says, well, thank you very much. Now I can take it from here, see? Stay in the cab, and the cab will take you home. The girl says, oh, no, I insist on seeing you off. Which meant, of course, that Manie had to buy a ticket. He had to pay $6 excess for telephone books and stuff that he'd put in the thing. And he stepped on the plane, and he flew to Chicago. All because he didn't want to hurt the young lady's feelings. But wouldn't you know that he made a business trip out of it after all? Sure, at 3 o'clock in the morning, he called Janet Kern. He said, meet me for a cup of coffee in the morning, Jan, and I'll explain NBC's plans for next year. This is the way this character did everything. There,
Right.
Rosie.
You know, talk about Manie not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings. You know how I met him?
No, would you like to tell him?
All right. I was singing with Tony Pastor's band, and one day my manager, Joe Shribman, burst into the band rehearsal, and he grabbed me and he said, Manie Sacks wants you to make a record for Columbia, and he thinks you're a pretty fine singer. Well, at the time, I didn't know who Manie Sacks was, but I wasn't going to ask questions. I ran right over there, boy, and 10 minutes later, I was making the record.
So that's how you met Manie, huh, Rosie?
Oh, there's more. Wait. The recording session just started out miserably and went downhill all the way. Everybody was telling me how to sing this song, and I was nervous. Finally, I just got so discouraged that I stamped off into the control room, and there was one thin, youngish fellow sitting in a corner, and I took it all out on him. Just mumbled, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, I think there are too many executives around here. He just smiled and said that everything was going to be wonderful, though. I was so mad and he was so cheerful that I went out and did the song in the next take, though.
I suppose the little man in the control booth was Manie.
Yes, it was, of
Who
course.
else?
And when Joe finally introduced me to him and said, this is the man